Hi there, I'm John Kierstead from Arctic Spas. I wanted to talk to you today about winterizing. First things first, use your hot tub in the winter. Come on, it's the best time of the year to use it, right? Okay, now, some people don't use their hot tubs in the winter. And I understand, like maybe you go away on a trip or otherwise. So here's my some rules, and then I'm going to show you some things that I do to actually winterize the hot tub. So first of all, within Arctic Spa, it's very efficient already. So because it is so efficient, you know, the cost to drain it, refill it, put your startup salt and stuff in there, and any other adjustments that you have to make, your time, as well as to heat it from whatever that cold temperature of water is all the way back up, that can cost quite a bit. So unless you're going to be gone for like 6 weeks or more, I would recommend just turn your temperature down to say 80 degrees and leave it. Spa Boy will manage your spa water for you, and because you're not using it, it's not going to come on all that often. It's just going to be enough to maintain nice clean water. And when you come home from your holidays, or you're at the airport, turn it back to your favorite temperature, and by the time you drop your luggage at the door, you can jump into your hot tub and it'll be ready for you. So that's the best winterizing right there. But let's say you've got a place, you're going to a nice warm place during the winter, and you don't want to have your hot tub running, and you want to make sure that when you drain this thing, you don't have any issues when you start up back in the spring. So what do? Well, the first thing to remember is that obviously water, if it freezes in the plumbing, can cause a lot of problems. So we want to drain this out as fully as possible. So I tell people, there is an outside drain. It takes a long time to drain it out, and it won't get everything out, right? So I use a sump pump typically, and that gets a lot of stuff out, but that also won't get everything out. The next step is you're going to get a shop vac, and you're going to suck all the water that you can see. It also is going to involve removing some of the fittings so you can actually get to the body. So I'm going to show you which fittings you need to remove. The first one I'm going to show you is this diverter here. So you pop this off, and then you open this thing up, take this out, and when you look down here, there's a hose. Right? So I take the end of my shop vac and I stick that down as far as I can. I fish it down there, and then I'll turn my shop vac on and I'll try to clear out as much as I can from the diverters. If you have more than one, do the same thing. And you need to do this with any of your top valves, right? So you don't have to, well, you can do it with an air control too, or the water feature valve. You take these off. Make sure when you tighten this right down, because I think I've done another video recently on people undoing these. If this comes off while you're using the spa, it will be very, very wet. You will have a volcano, okay? So that's that. You also have to take out each of the jets. Now these can sometimes, over time, these can be a little bit tricky and tight. Right? So I often will have like rubber gloves like you'd use for cleaning. Some of the people like to use like a jar opener or otherwise. I've even had it where this is really tight in there, and I've actually used a little my pliers, and I just kind of use the back end of my pliers because it's not going to make this scratched, and then I turn this and unwind it. All the jets on an Arctic Spa, all of the jets that you can adjust have a thread on them, so they can be unthreaded. And then this we call the jet body. So the same thing. I put the hose of the shop vac in here, and I'll suck the water out of that line. And I'll do the same with each of the fittings in there. The key is you want to get all of the water out of this thing. On the underside of the spa where your pumps are, you're going to open up the pump unions. And when I first open up the pump unions, I keep the ball valves closed. I put the shop vac in there, I open the ball valves up, and I turn on the shop vac and I drain out as much water as I can. The key is you want to have as much of the water drained out of the system as you can. And then most people use antifreeze, like RV antifreeze or marine antifreeze, and you can actually pour that in these fittings. You can pour a little bit down each jet body, right? So you use a funnel right? Pour a little bit in here, a little bit in here, a little bit in here. So there's a little bit of that propylene glycol or antifreeze in the lines. So that if for some reason you missed some water, it's not going to freeze in the setup or in the tub while you're not using it. Other things to think about when you're draining and filling is there's a probe if you have spa buoy. So if there's a probe, you know, normally when we drain and fill, we take the cap off, right? This cap. Well, actually, it will look like that if you had your spa buoy probe in here. This one doesn't have a spa buoy probe in it yet because we don't have water in it yet. Normally, there'd be a probe in behind that little piece there. So normally what we do is we plug this and we drain because we're going to fill it right back up. You can't do that. You can't do that if you're going to winterize this because the water that's caught in there that keeps the probe wet, that will freeze and you'll break the fitting, you'll break the probe, you'll break everything. So in that case, you actually have to go in underneath here and you have to pull that probe out. And I tell people if you can keep the little unit that keeps the probe wet, when we first install these, there's a box and there's like a little, looks like a little pill bottle or a little bottle, small little bottle, and it screws in and it'll hold the probe for you. If you don't have that, then what I recommend is just put that into a little bit of water. You could actually use some of your spa water, put it in there, and put that in a safe place where it's not going to get knocked over or dried out, right? Very important that you keep the probe wet. If that probe dries out, then it may not ever function or work again. So really important that you do that. So then all of your lines will have some antifreeze in it and you should be good to go. When you first fill the spa in the spring, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put, I would just take the hose and I would use your hose to dilute and push all of that antifreeze out. A little bit of antifreeze in the water is going to be so diluted that it wouldn't really affect anything, but I generally want to get all that stuff flushed out. So if I haven't been running my spa for months and months and months, I'm going to, put the hose on through every one of these lines, make sure it clears out. Then I'm going to make sure I drained out, and then I'll do the same thing with the shop vac. I'll shop vac all that stuff out, make sure there's nothing in here. I'll put my jets back in, I'll secure all of my fittings back in, I will reattach the unions of the pump and stuff, open up my ball valves and make sure that this thing's ready to hold water, refill, and then follow your startup procedures as if you were starting from fresh, reinstall the probe, you should be ready to go, right? I'm John Kierstead for Arctic Spas, and that's how you winterize your tub. But remember, you could just use it. This is the best time to use it. When you're up to here in hot water, it's wonderful.